Proverbs chapter 16. The preparations of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits. Commit your works to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established. The Lord has made all for himself, yes, even the wicked for the day of doom. Everyone proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though they join forces, none will go unpunished. In mercy and truth, atonement is provided for iniquity, and by the fear of the Lord one departs from evil. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than vast revenues without justice. A man's heart plans his ways, but the Lord directs his steps. Divination is on the lips of the king. His mouth must not transgress in judgment. Honest weights and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination for kings to commit wickedness, for a throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him who speaks what is right. As messengers of death is the king's wrath, but a wise man will appease it. In the light of the king's face is life, and his favor is like a cloud of the latter rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. The highway of the upright is to depart from evil. He who keeps his way preserves his soul. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better to be of a humble spirit with the lowly, than to divide the spoil with the proud. He who heeds the words wisely will find good, and whoever trusts in the Lord, happy is he. The wise in heart will be called prudent, and sweetness of the lips increases learning. Understanding is a wellspring of life to him who has it, but the correction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth, and adds learning to his lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. The person who labors for himself, for his hungry mouth drives him on. An ungodly man digs up evil, and it is on his lips like a burning fire. A perverse man sows strife, and a whisperer separates the best of friends. A violent man entices his neighbor, and leads him in a way that is not good. He winks his eye to devise perverse things. He purses his lips and brings about evil. The silver-haired head is a crown of glory, if it is found in the way of righteousness. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. Proverbs 16:1-3 says, The preparation of the heart belongs to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits. Commit your works to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established. So we make plans in life. We make plans all the time for things that we want to do. We make plans daily. We make them weekly. We might lay out plans for the month or for the year, kind of set some goals. Say this is when we're going to go on vacation. This is specifically when I'm going to work, and we set all of those plans out. Now, what's interesting, though, is sometimes God comes through and he changes those plans. Sometimes he changes just small daily plans. But sometimes he changes our entire life's plan, preventing us from accomplishing the things that we really wanted to get accomplished. Now, we need to be careful that we don't fear when that happens, because in our eyes, our plan is the perfect plan. When we lay out the plan especially for our vacation time or our fun time, we'll lay that plan out and be like, this is perfect, this is exactly what I'm going to do, and I don't want anything to mess this up. And when something comes through and opens up and it changes, and God changes that plan, then many times we automatically go to the fact that we're upset. Why is it that God is changing this? Why is it that God is preventing me from doing this? Even when it's something good. Why is it that God is preventing me from working? Working is a good thing. Well, God's plans are not our plans. The same way as God's ways are not our ways. Sometimes God comes through and he says, you know what? I don't want you to be working for whatever reason right now. I don't want you to be doing that job right now. I want you instead to be doing this. Sometimes God comes through and he changes us He wants us to be living in a house that we don't currently live in, something that we don't want to live in, or maybe something that is not available to us right now, but He wants us to live someplace different. Sometimes He wants us to move to another state. Sometimes He wants us to go to another country. Sometimes He wants us to have a different profession. Sometimes He wants us to have a different relationship. But all these different things happen in our lives to guide us and to point us ultimately to where God wants us to go, how we need to change, how we need to change in the manner that God wants us to change, so that we can use our life to glorify Him, which is ultimately the entire purpose for our life anyways, is to use our life to glorify Him in anything and everything that we do and we say. So we need to be careful when God opens up another door that we weren't expecting to go down. It doesn't mean it's the wrong door. It just means it's a different door that maybe we're not used to taking, and something that we're going to be unfamiliar with, and we don't really want to go down that door right now. But that's exactly where God wants us to go. God opens up opportunities in our lives not to play with us and see what we're going to do. He opens up opportunities for us to take those opportunities. How do we know when God wants us to do something? When God puts it in front of us to go ahead and do it. Even right now, being shut down with COVID, we look at all these things and say, why hasn't God stepped in yet? Why hasn't He intervened? Why hasn't He taken COVID away from us? Because God wants COVID to be here right now. God, with a snap of His finger, or even a split thought in His mind, He could easily just take away COVID right away. But because it's still here, that means He wants it here. Which means that each thing that pops up into our life is something that is there to direct us to something else that God wants. We need to let God's direction come along and take us wherever He wants us to go. Only will we have peace and joy when we're in God's plan instead of our own. Well, thank you again for joining me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.